Hello, everybody. Good evening and welcome to 5 Surefire Strategies to Your Sleep Success. And I am delighted to have you joining us this evening. And today is a very special webinar masterclass on how you can improve your sleep and really maximize your health. And just before I begin, I just want to check if you can locate your chat box there. And if you can just type in the chat box, yes, if you can see me and if you can hear me okay. So just a quick check before we actually get started. Just if you can type in the chat box and just let me know if you're seeing everything okay. And while you're waiting for me to begin, there is a free gift. You will see a free gift there on the right-hand side of your screen, Improve Your Sleep, Improve Your Life. That is an ebook that you can go ahead and download that. Okay. Brilliant, Jerry. Thanks a million. So you can hear me okay? Or you can hear me only, but you can't see the screen. Okay, just let me know as soon as you can see the screen. I think you might need to press the play button there. There might be a big play button there for you to press. And I'm just going to check on my other device here just to make sure. Yeah. Okay. So I can hear on my other device there. So I always have a backup second device when I'm doing these live webinars, just in case, because you never know what could go wrong. Okay, fantastic. So I'm absolutely delighted to have you all on this evening. And sleep deprivation, it is a silent epidemic in Ireland today. And it really is a major contributor to the 250,000 people in Ireland who have been diagnosed with diabetes in particular, amongst other diseases and health problems that we are having as a result of lack of sleep and, you know, a really bad lifestyle. So an awful lot of our diseases and health issues come down to our lifestyle, and sleep is one of those major contributors to our lifestyle. 1 in 15 people in Ireland are living with diabetes. And if you're overweight or obese, you're 60% more likely to getting this type 2 diabetes. And people who lack sleep or are severely sleep deprived or long-term sleep deprived are at much higher risk of diabetes. And I mentioned diabetes in particular because it is a very big disease that is growing in Ireland and across the worldwide at the moment. And weight gain is a significant result of sleep deprivation as well. And almost 20% of people in Ireland are pre-diabetic. So pre-diabetic is a high risk of developing diabetes, which is pretty significant. So this webinar is for you if you have read all the books on sleep and you've done everything that you're supposed to do and nothing worked. Or maybe you're tired, you're exhausted, and you know, you're still failing at sleeping properly. An awful lot of people who I know have absolutely tired themselves out to the extremes for the purpose of making themselves sleep, but that actually has an adverse effect. And I will tell you a little bit about that. You want to know what to do to get a good night's sleep, or you're sick and tired of always feeling sick and tired. Now, this webinar is not for you if you don't enjoy getting a good night's sleep regularly. And I know a few people too who are not really bothered. They don't take it as a priority. Maybe you're not prepared to make some changes, because we do need to make changes in our sleep habits and our routines. Or maybe you'd rather wait for your sleep routine to come back all on its own. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Or maybe you're just not interested in getting a load of free information. And I will have an offer at the very end of this webinar as well. Now, so some webinar logistics. So I'm going to present for about 45 to 50 minutes. And at the very end, I will have a Q&A if there's any questions. And I actually do have some questions that were emailed into me. So the chat box is there. If you need to use the chat box, you can type away during the webinar session. And of course, at the end, when we're doing Q&A, you can type in there any questions. Now, if sound disappears or you're having internet problems, just wait for a few minutes. There might be a lag, maybe depending on where you are. What I normally do is log off and log back in again. Everything is working fine here. I'm at checking it on my second device. So you have screen and you have sound coming through. So what you're going to get out of this next hour, we're going to get really, really clear on why sleep is so important. And there is a lack of understanding, as to what the purpose of sleep is and how that has an impact on our health. So you're going to get really clear on that. And I'm going to give you 5 strategies, 5 things to look out for that you can implement and start to get working on that will have you have a good night's sleep. And we're going to get some real insights as well about what it takes for you to get sleep, and so that you can have the best night's sleep that you've probably only ever dreamed of. And my promise to you is that you will walk away tonight with some actionable steps to start getting yourself sleeping, even as early as tonight. So just a little bit about myself. I am a certified health and wellness coach, a certified sleep science coach, an author, speaker, and an online trainer. I am an award-winning entrepreneur as well, and I have appeared several times on radio, TV, newspapers, magazines. So you will see a lot of my articles out there. I'm married, and I've had 3 children, and actually one of my daughters died at birth, and that is probably one of the reasons why my whole career path changed significantly. I used to do IT programming, and when I lost my daughter, I turned down the path of health and wellness. And really, I am amazed at how powerful our mind is. And, I'm really all about empowering people, especially parents, because, parents with children, because our children are our next generation, and I'm really passionate about our children. And with the busy world of technology that we have at the moment, it is a massive responsibility for parents, but then it's an honor to be a parent as well, to be able to educate and be a role model for our children. So here's a couple of people that I've met along the way. I've met Dr. Gloria Giovanelli, Pat Slattery, Mattress Mick, maybe you might know Mattress Mick, and Donna Kennedy, and Brian Tracy. I've met Brian Tracy, the pleasure of meeting Brian Tracy. So I met a lot of good people along the way, and I've had a lot of associations as well. There's some newspapers and some associations that I am involved with. So 5 strategies for your sleep success. Well, the very first thing is to understand sleep. This is really, really important. Why sleep is vital for our survival. And there's 2 things that can really stop you dead in your tracks. And that is when we say, I know all that, I know. But we often blind ourselves by assuming that we already know something or that we've seen it before. Please don't do that. If you aren't experiencing sleep success, then there is something that you don't fully know, or there's something that's missing. And I'll help you to discover that in the next hour. Another thing that we may often say is, I disagree. And that can easily happen. Some things might seem counterintuitive or strange, but aren't really taught this stuff, and we're very ignorant to a lot of things. And there's a lovely quote that I like by George Bernard Shaw. And he says, beware of false knowledge. It is more dangerous than ignorance. And another really well-known quote, it's an African proverb, actually. A wise man never knows all. Only fools know everything. So there you go. So be open to learning new things, and be mindful that it's not everything that we can see. There's a lot that we actually don't know about. It's hidden from our view. Now, managing stress, the impact of stress on our lives is huge. And what happens in the body that prevents us from sleeping when we're stressed? The stress contributes to a whole load of things, different processes in the body and the brain, and it can be really detrimental over the time. So we're going to have a look at that. And knowing your sleep requirements, it's really, really important, because we're all individuals and there are guidelines out there. And really, it comes down to you as an individual to know how much sleep it is that you actually need. And I'm also going to show you a little bit about how sleep works as well, to give you an idea of the different parts of sleep. Sleep disorders, sleep problems. So we really want to rule out any sleep disorders. And if nothing else is working, it may be a sleep disorder. And at that stage, you may need to go to a doctor. So we're going to have a little talk about that. circadian rhythm and your environment. We're going to have a look at how your everyday environment can negatively affect your sleep. And your alignment to your circadian rhythm is really super important. So we're really going to go to work on that and have a look at how you can do that. Now, this is a lovely quote that I like. Knowledge and purpose. And we're going to look at this from 3 areas: the past, the present, and the future. So how have you been behaving about sleep? So based on the past, how have you been behaving around sleep? Have you been relating to it that I don't need sleep? How have you been relating to sleep? And what's your perspective on sleep? How do you see it? Now, Ben Franklin, he was famous for saying, there will be plenty of time to sleep once you're dead. Or there's other sayings like, you snooze, you lose, or sleep is a waste of time. So these are all conversations, dialogues that we have in our mind. So what is it you want now in this present moment? What are you striving for? What is it you want? And what can you envision for the future? So what would it look like if you had that? Now, this quote, there is one quality which one must possess to win, and that is the definiteness of purpose and the knowledge of what one wants and a burning desire to possess it. So have a look at that. What is it that you want now in this present moment? And what is it that you envision for the future? What will it look like? And this is really important to really get that success that we want, to win. So you must change your mind about how you relate to sleep. And we're all individuals, and whatever works for you, it mightn't work for someone else. And we have to realize that good quality sleep is a must. And you have to have a big enough reason why you want it. And it could be to simply have more energy to play with your kids, or maybe you want to have lots of memories, lots of fun memories, and create stronger bonds. Or maybe you want to be more productive and focused on your work so that you can spend less time wasting time. And when you know why you want a good night's sleep, this alone is going to give you your drive and your desire to do whatever it is that you must do. And this is what's going to empower you and your family to finally have that sleep success. And your family will notice how much better you look. They will notice how much better you feel. Your mood will be better. And this is going to have an impact on people in your life and the people that you live with, your family, especially your children. And they in particular will model you, because you're the role model if you do have children. And it really is worth doing that for our children, to have that example, leading by example for our children. Because they learn from our behaviors, and they are our next generation, as I said, and we are ultimately responsible for them. So there is this silent epidemic of sleep deprivation, and it is really my mission to wake people up to how important sleep is. And Dr. William Demont, he's the father of sleep medicine, and he said, we are not healthy unless our sleep is healthy. So what's your perspective on sleep? Now, this is an actionable step that we can do now. So ask yourself, how do you see sleep? What is your attitude? And, what is your attitude towards sleep? So how you think about something will determine how much time you give it and how well you do it as well. Now, different people throughout the ages, they had different perspectives on sleep. So Thomas Edison, for example, he thought sleep was a waste of time, and he done very little of it. And we know Margaret Thatcher, the Prime Minister of England, she prided herself on only getting 4 hours of sleep every night. And then we had Winston Churchill, and he owed all his success to his sleep. And he actually kept a bed in the House of Parliament. It was hidden behind at the very back of the house. That's where he kept it, and he used to go for regular naps there. So if you think about something often, it will become a belief. You will believe it to be true. And this is how we form habits. Another quote by I love quotes, as you can tell, Napoleon Hill: whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And that is so, so true. So the language that we're using is subliminally tells us how we value sleep. And I cannot stress this enough. So some people say, I don't have time for sleep. I'll sleep when I'm dead, all these things. But many people don't think very much about sleep. And it's not important to them. It's boring because nothing really happens to us at nighttime. At least that's what everyone thinks. So we have to start gaining a new perspective on sleep by understanding sleep in order to really value it and to really feel that it's important, because that's the only time, that is when we will start to prioritize sleep. So sleep is an important part of our daily routine. And it's actually part of our lifestyle. And we spend a third of your time doing it. So it really is worth consider doing it better. And we can't survive without sleep. We can actually only go 12 days or so without sleep. And after that, we'll die. And scientists don't know why this is, but it's really extreme and it's absolutely vital for life. Now, 90% of us don't actually have the life that we really want. It's true. And 90% of us are suffering unnecessarily. And 90% of all illnesses and diseases are stress related. And part of that is because we're not sleeping properly, or we're not even resting properly. We're on the go all the time. And we really do have to stop and slow down. And especially in the next coming years, with all this technology, life is going to get faster. And we really have to wake up to the importance of resting and getting a good night's sleep. Now, understanding sleep. So in order to do that well, we really have to understand the whole process. So you see, when a process is not understood or controlled, it creates problems. And the bottom line is that you really can't effectively and efficiently control or improve a process that you don't understand. So when there's no process, there's no structure, there's no schedule or routine. So you must understand all the parts and how it's managed. And we also have to take into account the environment as well, the external environment, and how that's having an impact as well. So it's like driving a car. When we first took our driving lesson, we were shown the different parts of the car, all the mechanics, and what the purpose of all these parts were. So like the accelerator and the brakes and gears. So we knew how they worked. And when the car is started, we have to first put it into gear before we move off. And also we have to make sure that it's safe to do that as well. So that's our environment, our external environment. So there's a process. And we also have to maintain the car as well. We don't want to let it overheat, and we need to get it serviced regularly. So now that we understand the controls and how to look after a car and how to make it run more smoothly and for longer. So when we have a perspective, we now appreciate and understand what the different controls and mechanisms do and how we can prolong the life of our car. It's the same for sleep. And most people think sleep's just for resting or enable you to have energy for the next day, and it's a boring subject. But you don't really remember much of sleep. But when you recognize and realize this whole process, you will really start to accept why sleep is so important and really, really value it. And when you understand the process, the mechanics, the purpose of each of the different processes of sleep, and all the benefits, it opens up a whole new perspective. And when you understand the risks involved to your health and your well-being, when you are sleep deprived, you'll start to see a new purpose with this knowledge. So let's have a look at why sleep is so important. Well, it restores our body physically. So there's all this healing, repairing at nighttime. It helps us with information processing and memory. So we need sleep to retain our memory, to consolidate our memory into long-term memory. It regulates our mood. You know, if you don't get a good night's sleep, you're going to be really irritable the next day. It also strengthens our immune system. At nighttime, your body is busy building all the antibodies and your white blood cells and everything in your immune system. It's really boosting your immune system because your immune system can only do this when you're resting. It also clears these toxins. They're toxic toxins in your brain. And this really has only been discovered in the last 15 years or so. And we'll have a look at that later on. So there's lots of different aspects to why sleep is important. Now let's have a look at what happens when you don't get enough sleep. So without sufficient sleep, you're going to significantly weaken your immune system. And this is going to increase your risk for diseases, including cancer. It also raises your blood sugar as well. So if you get deficient sleep, so say if you get 6 hours of sleep for 7 nights on the trot, you can actually be classed as a pre-diabetic. So pre-diabetic is the borderline of diabetic. It can also develop or contribute to developing Alzheimer's because these toxic proteins in the brain, if you're not getting a good sleep at nighttime, your body has this, or your brain has this cleaning mechanism, this household cleaning mechanism where it flushes out all these toxins in your brain, and it only does that at nighttime. And these proteins have been found to be accumulated in the patients with Alzheimer's. So lack of sleep over a long period of time can contribute to Alzheimer's. And Alzheimer's is the 7th leading cause of death in the world, so pretty significant. Blocked coronary arteries, so poor sleep has been linked to high blood pressure, arteriosclerosis, so this is the clogging or hardening of arteries. Heart disease, that's the #1 killer in the world at the moment. Stroke, diabetes, obesity, depression and anxiety. So both of these really go hand in hand. And so with sleep problems, they can cause anxiety or depression, and depression or anxiety can inhibit sleep. So it's like a double-edged sword. Weight gain. Sleep deprivation causes changes to our hormones that regulate hunger and appetite. So there's a lot that happens in the body at nighttime when we don't get enough sleep. Now this is a funny picture because I know this is a very dark, kind of horrible subject when we wake up to the reality of it. But in the morning times, this is how most of us, or at least I'm sure all of us, have experienced. So we don't want to talk to anybody first thing in the morning until we have our cup of coffee or a cup of tea. We don't want anyone to ask us any questions. So I'm sure some of you have experienced this when you haven't had a good night's sleep. So let's have a look at our physical health. So hormone balance, cardiovascular, immune system, gut health, all of these are affected on a physical level. So the blood sugar levels, we had a look at that briefly in relation to diabetes. So your blood sugar levels are going to increase, and your blood glucose control can affect your sleep, and it's really is a vicious cycle. So your blood sugar increases with lack of sleep, and sleepless nights is also a form of stress on the body because it increases your cortisol, your stress hormone. And higher blood sugar means less fat metabolism in the nighttime. And when your blood sugar is really high, your kidneys are going to try and eliminate it. And it may cause you to get up during the night to go to the toilet. So blood sugar really is very significant. Your endocrine system, so testosterone, and both men and women have testosterone. Men have more levels of testosterone. And there was it was a study done by the National Heart, Lung and Blood Institute, and they found that the testosterone levels dropped really significantly in men who didn't sleep very well. And this was like 5 hours or less. And it was equivalent to an aging of 10 to 15 years. So pretty significant. And testosterone deficiency is actually linked to lower energy, poor concentration, fatigue, and decreased strength. Now, the growth hormone is very significant at nighttime as well. So you actually need an increase in your growth hormone to burn fat and to lower levels of fasting levels of insulin. So you need both. And the growth hormone, as we know, is required for all that healing and repairing, and especially in young children as well, because they're developing. They're still developing, and that's why children sleep a lot more as well. Gut flora. So lack of sleep can adversely affect your gut flora. And this causes stress on the body as well. So your gut flora is also called your microbiome, or this is your friendly bacteria. And your friendly bacteria is involved in an awful lot of processes. Our gut is connected to our brain via the vagus nerve. So this is the longest cranial nerve in the body. And this actually affects our nervous system as well, so the enteric nervous system. And there's two neurotransmitters, serotonin and melatonin, and these are mainly made in the gut, and they help to regulate your body's sleep cycle or your circadian rhythm. And 90% of serotonin is made in the gut. Now, our microbiome is responsible for so many things, and your gut health is so important for everything on all levels, for digesting your food, for absorbing your vitamins and minerals. Your microbiome just cannot be underestimated, and we really do need to nourish our microbiome. And then the immune system. So the more stress we have in the body, the more inflamed our body is going to get, and the more toxins are going to be in our body as well. So when we're resting or in a deep phase of sleep, this is the only chance that the body has to detox, because it's not in a stressful state. It's resting, and this is when the body detoxifies and the inflammation is reduced. So a lot going on physically. Now, brain health. So sleep deprived brains struggle to make accurate judgments, and this includes when you believe that you've had enough sleep and that you're fine, so you think you're fine even when you've only slept for a few hours. And President Bill Clinton, he once stated, "Every important mistake I've ever made in my life, I made when I was tired." Now, the outside of the brain, the cortex, it's one of the largest parts of the brain to develop, or one of the last parts to develop, sorry. And this area, the prefrontal cortex, the front part of the cortex, the front part of your brain. So this is responsible for all your decision making, your problem solving, all your conscious thoughts as well, your thinking. It's your thinking brain. And it's also most vulnerable when we are sleep deprived, because it can't connect to our amygdala. Our amygdala is the emotional part of our brain. So it loses that connection. And this is when we start to have impulsive reactions in our behaviors, and it really is significant. Another thing is, you may have heard of the term sleep on it. When we're sleeping at nighttime, our brain tends to help us solve problems. So it helps with our emotional health, our emotional well-being. And we dream. This is in particular where we dream, and this is where all emotions are processed. So there's a lot going on in the brain at nighttime, and it is super important for our brain health. Managing stress. So we have all experienced stress. There is stress everywhere, and it really is down to how we manage our stress and our stress resilience. So basically, when you're experiencing stress, your body and your mind are in a state of alert, making it extremely difficult to wind down and sleep at nighttime. So even how you are during the daytime has a massive impact on your winding down routine at night. So stress increases our blood pressure, your cortisol, the stress hormone, and we know high levels of cortisol can have serious consequences on your health if it's consistent. And this is a form of low-grade stress, and it's often overlooked. And the problem here is that most people are coping. They're coping with their busy, hectic lifestyles. And coping is a form of struggling. And we're not even aware of this. And we're not even aware that we're even stressed, and we don't even acknowledge it. And it may be a sign of weakness, and there is a stigma out there if you're saying to rest or take it easy. You know, people think you're being lazy. And then people are coping with substances then like cigarettes and alcohol and caffeine to help them get by. So we really have to acknowledge when we are overworking ourselves and when we are not taking sufficient breaks during the day and rest during the day. It's really important. And this really is one of the biggest culprits of why we can't sleep well at nighttime. Now, there's many other areas to managing our stress with exercise and our diet and nutrition. So these are other really big areas as well, because eating the wrong types of food can have a stress on our body, and if we're not exercising or moving around, this is going to have an impact on the stress. We won't be able to release the stress in our bodies. So all these other pillars are really important when it comes to managing our stress. So let's have a look at how sleep works. So we have different stages of sleep throughout the nighttime. So stage 1 and 2 is really light stages of sleep. And stage 3 is where our deep sleep is. This is where the growth hormone is released. And stage 3 is where all the healing and repairing is done. So we do most of our deep sleeping in the first half of the night. So that's why it's really important to get to bed as early as possible, ideally 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is the ideal time. Now, I know I said this before, and a lot of people were like, are you kidding me? But that is it has been shown in studies between the hours of 10 and 2 o'clock is where we are optimized in our deep sleep. So if you are not feeling well, or you're coming over surgery, or you're recovering from an illness or a cold or a flu, really getting to bed early and optimizing your sleep to restore and boost that immune system between 10 and 2 o'clock, that is when you're really optimizing your deep stages of sleep. REM sleep or dream sleep, this we get most of our dreaming in the second half of the night, and dreaming is really important for our emotional health. It's where we process all our dreams and emotions throughout the day. Now, this is one cycle of sleep, and it takes between 90 and 120 minutes, and it differs for everybody. So some people may need less sleep than others, and it's important to know that you don't necessarily have to have 8 hours of sleep, which is the recommended guidelines for adults. It could be 7, or it could be 6.5. But anything less than that really is not enough. So it really is important to know how much sleep it is that you actually need. And I'm missing a slide now, I think. Yeah, I'm missing a slide. So I'm going to tell you how much sleep you actually need. So you start with where you are. Start at where you are and have a look at how many hours you typically do sleep, and determine how much sleep you're getting every night. So go to bed 15 minutes earlier every 2 to 3 nights. Okay, so do this consistently every 2 to 3 nights until you're getting at least 7 hours of sleep every night. So aim for at least 7 hours of sleep. You may need more sleep than that, but let's just aim for 7 hours of sleep. Now, when you hit the 7 hours, see how you feel. If you're tired during the day, or you're not ready to wake up, you're not feeling refreshed when your alarm clock goes off, move your bedtime back 15 more minutes and continue this process until you're actually getting enough sleep every night and you're waking up feeling refreshed. So remember, so you'll probably end up somewhere between the 7 and 9 hours, as I said, but listen to your body and follow its needs. That's really, really important. So when I come back to the cycle, between 90 and 120 minutes for one cycle, and we would have anywhere between 4 and 5 cycles a night. So it depends on how many hours of sleep that you need in total will determine how many minutes you would have per cycle. So that's just to put that into perspective for you. So now let's have a look at some sleep problems. So sleep problems, what if you have other issues that are interfering with your sleep at nighttime? So sleep problems, conditions that prevent us from getting a good quality of sleep. So it can occur many times throughout our lifetime. So pregnant women, menopause, the elderly, even teenagers. So teenagers go through the shift in their circadian rhythm. So you could experience losing your job maybe, or you could have some inconvenience that's going to cause an upset or some kind of a readjustment in your life. And you could have an illness, or maybe somebody else in your family could have an illness that you need to care for. So this is all going to disrupt or cause problems with your sleep. You could even have a snoring partner who's keeping you awake. And actually, interesting, did you know that if you do have a snoring partner, You could lose up to 1 hour of good quality sleep if you have a snoring partner. So there you go. Now, nearly everybody experiences trouble sleeping occasionally from time to time. We know this. And these interruptions to our normal sleeping patterns are often caused by stress or illness or some kind of an outside factor. But unfortunately, for a number of people, sleep troubles are really a nightly occurrence, and it has a big impact on their everyday lives. And for these people, it's very likely that they may suffer from a sleep disorder. Now, a sleep disorder is a medical condition. So for sleep disorders to be properly evaluated, a sleep study may be required to diagnose your sleep disorder, but also to rule out other potential causes of sleep problems. So if you do suspect a sleep disorder, if you've tried everything else and you suspect a sleep disorder, you may need to contact your doctor and discuss these symptoms and the concerns with your sleep doctor and maybe request a sleep study done. And then you can get treated. So one of the biggest sleep disorders is sleep apnea. And actually, my husband was diagnosed with sleep apnea many years ago. And I started off with snoring. He was snoring very, very loudly. So it is one of the signs of sleep apnea if you have a partner who snores very loudly. So if you do have a partner who is complaining to you, really listen to them. And one of the signs of sleep apnea is let's explain what sleep apnea is. So we breathe normally during the nighttime, but there's a few things that can affect this natural process. And the brain does need a lot of energy or a lot of oxygen at nighttime because it uses a lot of energy at nighttime. Your brain waves are significantly increased at nighttime. So your brain is doing a lot of work at various different stages throughout your sleep cycle. Now, a nighttime breathing disorder called obstructive sleep apnea, it can interrupt your sleep and lower the quality of your sleep. And you may wake up several times during the night, and sometimes you mightn't even be aware of this. And the fact is that you will not sleep undisturbed long enough to get enough deep sleep. So it's going to disturb your deep sleep, all this healing, repairing. And this is really a vital part of your sleep cycle because this is where the healing is all done and all this repairing. And with this obstructive sleep apnea, you're actually depriving your body of oxygen. So this is what causes you to have brain fog in the morning time. Now, if this is left untreated, you may be at a higher risk of obesity and type 2 diabetes and heart attacks and strokes. And this is over long term. So if you do suspect this sleep disorder in particular, go to your doctor and request a sleep lab test. One of the treatments is a CPAP machine. That's one of the treatments. And it's a positive pressure that goes down the airways and it helps to keep the airways open, allowing enough oxygen to go to your brain and allowing you to have a deep, restful night's sleep. And a lot of people swear by it. Now, some people it doesn't work. It takes a few adjustments, but go to your doctor and have that discussion with him and it will get you sleeping a lot better and you will have a lot better quality sleep at nighttime. And your partner will thank you as well. So being aligned to your circadian rhythm. So this is another strategy that we really do need to adhere to. So your environment, what controls your sleep? What actually controls your sleep? So it's your circadian rhythm and your sleep drive, these two processes. So your circadian rhythm, it's this 24-hour biological process. And most organisms, including humans, they have this metabolic, physiological and behavioral process that happens, though it's synchronized to this 24-hour clock. And according to these external signals, our environment that tells us whether it's daytime or nighttime, our biology, it orchestrates a whole symphony of hormonal, all our neurotransmitters, all our behavioral responses. All of this is orchestrated all around this circadian rhythm. So our circadian rhythm is really important that we are aligned to it, and also our sleep drive. So these two kind of marry together. And our sleep drive is really, it's a sleep pressure. So this starts from the moment that we wake up in the morning time. And the longer we are awake, the more tired we're going to get. So This also depends on our activities during the daytime. So basically what happens with our sleep drive is we have this chemical in our brain called adenosine. And adenosine is produced according to your metabolic waste. So how much energy you're using during the daytime. So if you're doing something strenuous, you're going to be burning a lot and you're going to be creating a lot of metabolic waste as a result. And the more adenosine that's produced, the tired your body is going to get. So that's your sleep drive. And really, when your sleep drive and your circadian rhythm peak at the same time, what's created is called a sleep window. And it's within the sleep window is the optimal time for us to go to bed. But what happens is many of us ignore the sleep window and we stay up late watching Netflix. And that's when we get our second wind. And when we're getting a second wind, the body needs more energy, and then there's more cortisol being pumped into your body. And then you may find it's more difficult to get asleep and you're just not aligned to your circadian rhythm. And it's disrupting this whole orchestra of hormones and the neurotransmitters. And it's just confusing the body. So the body is always trying to be aligned to the circadian rhythm. And the more out of alignment you are to your circadian rhythm, the more stress you're putting on your body. So it's really important that we are aligned to our circadian rhythm. So getting up at the same time every morning and getting sunshine, because this helps to really reset our day and start like a clean slate, start our new day. Getting sunshine first thing in the morning when we wake up, that is probably the most important factor. And waking up at the same time every day, that can help us to align to our circadian rhythm. So 5 tips for better sleep. So morning routine, getting our sunshine first thing in the morning. This is super, super, super important because the body likes routine. So getting up at the same time and even on the weekends, really, really important. Really, really important to get up at the same time, even if it's the weekend on a Saturday or Sunday. So if you're a Monday to Friday worker, you may find if you're having lie-ons on a Saturday and a Sunday, then you may find Monday mornings really difficult to get up. And this is because you have had a shift in your circadian rhythm. Creating a wind down routine. So really managing your stress during the daytime and then creating a wind down routine at night, because our body slows down. Our body has to reduce its core body temperature, reduce its blood pressure, the heart rate, everything. It all has to slow down to create this onset of sleep and to create the processing of your melatonin, which is your sleep hormone. So that's really, really, really super important. So your wind down routine, we do not have an on-off switch. It takes a while for our body to wind down and to come into this relaxed state. So there's lots of things you can do in your wind down routine, like meditation or whatever it is that you like to do before you go to bed at nighttime, having a hot bath or reading a book. Turning off your mobile devices at least 1 to 2 hours before bed. And this is really, really significant because your devices stimulate your brain, first of all. We're addicted to our mobile devices. And probably the most significant is your devices give off this blue light, which blocks your melatonin. It blocks your sleep hormone. And a lot of people complain about waking up during the nighttime. And melatonin, it not only gets us to sleep at night, but it actually transitions us through all the different cycles during the nighttime. So we need melatonin for that as well. So if you don't have sufficient amounts of melatonin, guess what? You will wake up during the nighttime. At least it may be one of the causes of you waking up during the nighttime. So turn your devices off before you go to bed, 1 to 2 hours. Avoid caffeine and alcohol. Caffeine is a stimulant and alcohol is a sedative. But alcohol it will get you to sleep, all right, but it's going to disrupt your sleep during the nighttime. So avoid caffeine and alcohol, and then waking up at the same time every day because your body likes routine. And this is really, really super important. Okay. So to summarize, we spoke about understanding sleep, why sleep is so important. We looked at, how you relate to sleep and what your attitude is towards sleep, and then why sleep is so important, why we really do need to have a proper perspective, a proper attitude, and why we really do need to value sleep. We had a look at how stress impacts sleep as well. So how this can have a knock-on effect on winding down at nighttime, and also reducing that cortisol in the body, the excess inflammation, lots of stuff that stress causes in our body. And we really do need to acknowledge when we are stressed. How sleep works. We had a look at how sleep works and how much sleep you actually need. We had a look at some sleep problems and disorders, and is it time for you to go to your doctor and have a sleep lab test? Sleep apnea is a very big sleep disorder, and it is treatable, and it can solve your problems of not getting a good quality sleep. And when your environment affects your sleep, so when we're not aligned to our circadian rhythm. So now I would like to tell you a little bit about my Empowering Sleep Success program that will go into all these areas in a lot more depth. So really, in truth, we've only had maybe an hour, not even an hour. And my Empowering Sleep Success programs goes into all these areas in more depth over a 12-week course program, a live program. So do you want to improve your life for the better? Really, sleep has a massive impact on our whole lifestyle. Diet, nutrition, exercise, they're all really important, and they all marry together in a holistic lifestyle. And sleep really is a big factor in our lifestyle. And, we want to do this for our children as well. And we do have a massive influence on our children. And we want our children to be happy and content and sleeping well. Maybe you want to improve your career prospects, or how you relate to people, how empowering you are at meetings or with your staff. Are you a good leader? So what area do you want to improve in your life? We've all different areas in our lives that never really work as well as we would like them to all the time. So what area? It could be your finances, work, family life. Maybe you need to have more fun. Maybe you're too serious and you need to have a little bit more fun. Maybe you don't have the energy to do that. Whatever it is your power. It's your freedom, and it's your life at the end of the day. So know what it is that you want, what area in your life is not working for you, and how sleep can have a massive impact on your health to enable you to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve, to have that success in your life, that you can finally have freedom. So my Empowering Sleep Success program, it is a 12-week live program. There's 6 modules and 6 Q&As. So after each module, there is an opportunity to have your questions answered. Module 1, Wake Up to Sleep. So we have a look at the importance of sleep, prioritizing your sleep, really getting a perspective on how you relate to sleep and why sleep is so important. We're going to have a look at sleep for holistic health. So how you manage your stress is a big one, but also diet, nutrition, and exercise, and how these all marry together. We're going to have a look at the science of sleep. So a little bit of neuroscience, how the brain works, the neurotransmitters, everything that's involved in the brain and the sleep-wake process, how all that works. Sleep problems. So there's various other sleep problems that you may encounter: restless legs, or maybe your children with night terrors, sleep apnea, that's a sleep disorder. Maybe it could be just cold and flu that's causing you a problem. There's lots of different sleep problems that could be causing you an issue with getting a good night's sleep. Environmental influence as well. So everything from your bedroom, how your bedroom is, the temperature in your room, the mattress that you're using, and also external environmental influences, toxins in your environment, the food and in the air that you're breathing. So we have a look at this massive area and how this can affect your alignment to your circadian rhythm. And then finally in module 6, we'll be looking at sleep hygiene. So really creating new habits and how we can do that. And I do give you some planners and some exercise worksheets that will help you with that. And then, of course, we have the 6 Q&A calls as well after each of the modules. Now, included as well as a bonus, you'll get access to my live workshop, and the next one coming up is May. So that's a a live workshop in Newlands Cross in Dublin. And you will get a free pass to come to that workshop as well. It's normally valued at 197. So you will get access to that for free. You will also get not just 1 year access to all the content. You will actually get, I'm going to give you lifetime memberships. You will always have access to all the modules and all the bonuses as well. You will always have access to these. And also, when you book tonight, you will also get a 20-minute free strategy call with me. All of this is $497. It's in dollars because this is going across globally. So it's $497. So if you're a local here in Ireland, like I am, it will work out a little bit less. And I am actually going to put the offer up for you there. Let me see. Okay, so I'm going to put the offer up on the screen, so you should be able to see the offer coming up on the screen there now. Okay, there's the offer. So you will also get a 20-minute free sleep strategy call with me as well. And I have some testimonials too. So this is Doug Gordon. He's a radio presenter on Dublin City FM. And he is a performance and optimization coach as well. And he says, I guarantee Joanne can help you. She's brilliant at wellness and she's a wonderful lady. And then Pat Slattery, who was my mentor for a long time. He's an international speaker and business consultant. And he says, Joanne has an incredible amount of knowledge. She really understands her clients' needs and can always come up with a solution. And I highly recommend a consultation with her. She truly cares about her clients. And Karina Murray, if anyone is struggling to sleep, you've got to check out this lady. She has the knowledge and can seriously help you. Karina Murray is involved with a new academy and she's an incredible lady. And of course, Leslie Feger from Canada. And I had the privilege of sharing the stage with Leslie. He says, attend one of Joanne's events and you will come away amazed at what she knows about sleep and what you can learn. So there's some testimonials from some incredible people in the past. So here's everything that you get. Here's all the bonuses. You're going to get some checklists. You're going to get email support. You're going to get the live workshop. You're going to get some e-guides, aromatherapy recipes. So I am a professional aromatherapist as well. And you're going to get access to everything for life as well. Okay. So I'm going to have an introduction on the 31st of March, and the first class module will begin on the 2nd of April. So they're all the when it begins. So they will be weekly on a Thursday evening at 8 p.m. on a Thursday evening. So it will be over a 12-week course as well. So if there's any questions, going to check and see if there's any questions that anybody has. Okay. So I've had a question about foods and food supplements. And I've been asked, what kind of foods are good to help you with sleep? So there's a few. So basically, obviously, don't eat 3 to 4 hours before bed because it can have an impact on your digestive system. I'm just going to share my screen again. Okay. So don't eat too late before you go to bed. Obviously, big meals are going to have an impact on your digestion. Your metabolism slows down at nighttime. Some good foods that you can have as snacks maybe, or to help you to sleep better at nighttime would be tart cherry juice. Tart cherry juice contains melatonin, so it naturally contains melatonin. Bananas are good as well, so they contain potassium, which help the nervous system to wind down. Some walnuts are really good. Walnuts will help to relax the nervous system, and also magnesium. A lot of people are deficient in magnesium. So you could take supplements of magnesium, or you can use a spray. So a lot of people have tension in their muscles. So a spray on the back or the calves or whatever you're having muscle tension, that can help. What else? Your walnuts, tart cherry juice, bananas. They be some foods. Pistachio nuts, they're also very good as well. So there's some foods that you can take at nighttime before you go to bed. And somebody's asking me about sleep, how much sleep. So 7 to 9 hours for adults. The World Health Organization says 8 hours, but it's really, we're all individuals, and it's really for you to find out how much sleep it is that you actually need. But anything less than 6.5 hours is too little. Even if you think you're coping, or you're okay, try to get a little bit extra sleep, and you will notice the difference. And it has been shown on studies of significant reductions in antibodies and the immune system when people are getting less sleep, even when they feel fine. So your body is having, it is stressful on your body, even though you may not feel it. So really try to get at least 7 hours of sleep every night. Okay, so you have the link there for the Empowering Sleep Success program. So you can click on the link there, or you can also go to empoweringsleepsuccess.com and you can register there. Now that offer is there for 1 week, so you can avail of that. And also, if you sign up tonight, you will get a 20-minute free strategy sleep call with me. And don't forget, all those bonuses as well are available. If you do go onto the website, you'll see that I'm selling that program for $997. So I'm doing a special price at the moment, and it's only available for the next week. So do avail of that offer. The first introduction live session together begins on the 31st of March. That's Tuesday, the 31st of March. And the first classroom begins on the 2nd of April. On Thursday, the 2nd of April, and we will be doing them weekly. I think there'll be a week here and there where it will be 2 weeks. We will have 1 week off around the Easter time. So check that out and enroll tonight, and I will look forward to seeing you on the program. Any questions, you can send an email over to me, or message me or email me, and I look forward to working with you. I'm going to say goodnight for now, and really thank you so much for your time, because I know your time is valuable and you spent it here with me for the last hour. And I promised you we would be an hour, and we are bang on 8 o'clock. So good night and take care and sleep well tonight. Bye now.